Have you heard of BEM, B-E-M, or CSS BEM? This is a CSS naming convention, which stands for Block Element Modifier. Now, if you come from a page building background like me, you probably never heard of this, unless, of course, you're someone who's advanced and you work with CSS. Well, I had a bit of a trouble when I was working with Etch, and I couldn't work out how to customize everything that I was putting on my canvas. Now, let me show you what I mean. So let's say I want to add a section, and in that section, I am going to add, let's say, a heading, and also some paragraph text and a button. Okay. So automatically you can see when I click over here, there's nothing. I mean, there's no way to go in and adjust or modify this. And this is where BEM comes in. So you need to give this a name, and then you're going to be able to modify it. Now, let me show you what it is. So here, with that selected, I would come over here to the style, click on this little plus button here, and then I could say dot heading. Okay, so that could be just my own way of naming it. So dot heading, and then I can now go in and add some padding. I can add, I can add some margins, and so on and so forth. But of course, we don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and delete it. So I'm going to come over here. So this is where all my classes are. Let me just get rid of them. Okay. All right. So let's go back. In fact, let's save first. So to apply the BEM naming convention, here's what you need to do. You need to now come over here, and you need to start naming things over here. So I'm going to call this, let's say, main heading. In fact, we can even start naming the section itself. So let's just give this a name by double clicking. There we go. So I'm going to call this main hero section. Do I need to put caps or not? I don't think that matters. Anyway, main hero section. Right. So with that now, I have to go in and name everything else here. So this is our main container. So again, I'm going to double click on that. So I'm going to call this hero container. And then I'm going to name this as my main heading. And this is my description text. So let's call this description. And this one here is a link. So let's just call this call to action, CTA, like that. So now that everything is named, I know exactly what it is. So it's easier for me now to go in and, customize each and every item using my BEM naming convention. So to apply this now, there is what is known as auto BEM. I didn't know about this. So if you right click over here, you see here where it says create BEM classes. Now remember, a moment ago, I went in and I created my own class. Now, if I do this, create, look at that. This naming convention now has been applied to pretty much everything. So if I click on this one here, you notice here it says main hero section _ hero container. Look at this. This is the hero, main hero section, main heading, description, call to action. So you see how easy it is now for me to go in and customize this. And now it's easy for me to find where everything is. So even if I now make this layout a bit more advanced. So let's say in here, I have my main section, right? I can add a container inside. So we have our container here, as you can see. So if I click on that and add another container by coming over here, let's say in this container, I need to add an image. I can just click here on image. Okay, so now it's time to add our image. I'm going to click over here. And it's going to take me to my media library, and I'm going to click on that image and say use this media. All right, great. So now that I have everything all set, you can see here I have 2 div containers inside the section. So what I can do now is I can click on this section here and then apply my flex mode. So I'm going to come over here to display, and I'm going to say flex, and flex direction, I'm going to say rows. and now you can see everything is now looking great. Now, if you watched my previous video, I was struggling with this, and I saw a comment in the comments box which say that it was all to do with the naming. That is where I messed everything up. So I'm really excited that now everything just looks well structured and everything looks great. So with this now, with my section, selected, I can now go in and I can go to dimensions. I can even go to my sizes, typography, backgrounds. I can even go to my layout. I mean, now I can go in and customize quite a lot of things. So in this case, I want to add some padding. So I'm going to come over here and add, say, 4 rem, and now you can see my rem has been applied across my design. So the question now is, where are all these classes? Well, if you want to take a look at the classes, you'd come over here, and here are all the classes. So at any point, I can always come over here to this call to action. I can make some changes to this. So I can say padding, and let's say I add 2 rem. I can add my background color if I want to. So as you can see, I mean, there's a lot that we can do here. So let's go in and say background. So now that this is my call to action, I'm going to save, and let's see what changes have been done. So back over here on this little icon, you can see now we have yellow applied to my background. So I'm now applying all these changes in CSS, and when I click over here, you can see this is my CSS. And you remember I added all my settings on this little tab, but of course when I click on it, it also follows me here. So I can change this to red if I want to, and you can see it's updating. Isn't that cool? So my take on this is very, very flexible. I can always go into each and every item here and say, for example, here I want to add a margin top. I can just go in and say margin top and add the size. Let's say 2 rem, and you can see now it has been applied. So it has a lot of flexibility, and also as someone who's learning code, you can actually see what needs to be changed, exactly where, and if you make a mistake, you know exactly where the mistake is being made. So with the page builder, of course, there was no BEM, CSS naming convention, but in this new way of designing websites, I can see the flexibility, and for me, I can see exactly where I need to go and make the changes. But that said, I think this takes a bit longer for you to design the site, unless everything is all named, you all have your classes and you have all your variables ahead of time. But that's a topic for another day. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments box below. Till next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.